Hello, people. Today I want to teach you how to learn a language, but through reading. What do I do? What do I like to do when I learn a new language? Is reading useful or not? Let's go. So, for me, I think reading is great, but it depends how you read and what you read. It all depends on that and if you like reading, of course. Um, at the first stage of learning a language, especially if you're a super beginner, you don't know anything about the language, I don't think it's a good idea to read. Why? Because you don't know how it's pronounced, you don't know how is the tone in the language. So if you start reading in that language, let's say you're American and you want to learn Spanish but never heard anyone speak Spanish like on a daily basis to you, or you don't listen to any content in Spanish, then you try reading in Spanish, even though it's the same alphabet, the pronunciation is completely different. So when you start reading Spanish text, you will read in your head with the English pronunciation. And friends, you don't want that at all. Not at all. This is the worst thing that you can do for yourself. I recommend you to start reading only when you have an idea of how the pronunciation of the words is made. And you can only have that through listening a lot to that content. Also, the fact that you listen to a lot of content, even though you don't know how to speak, the fact that you listen to the sound of it, you start to recognize the sound in the text you're reading. So the words that you already heard in a podcast, for example, or in a TV show, you will be able to transmit it to your reading text. And that's very powerful, but only when you do it right. So at the beginning, if you're a complete beginner, wait a bit before reading. If you have some idea of how the language is made, if you know already how to speak a bit like conversational, just a few sentences, but you can understand much more, then I will recommend you to read. But let's wait. Easy reading. What do I mean by that? So, in my case, for example, when I started learning Portuguese, I didn't know how words were pronounced, so I avoided that. What did I do? I listened a lot to that content, and afterwards, when I was like a bit more familiar to the language, then I started reading. And the thing I love to do, my favorite social media is Instagram. I love Instagram a lot. And of course, I follow Brazilian pages because I learned Portuguese. So I started to follow Brazilian pages so I could follow and see the memes in Portuguese, the video, content creator from Brazil, etc., etc. And also for Brazil, I noticed that they put the subtitles everywhere, so it was easier for me to understand. And they start to do that in much more in any kind of country. But anyway, when you start doing that with Instagram, you're reading content like the memes with the joke, etc. And at the same time, you're learning vocabulary, you're learning expressions, and of course, you have the best of the best in life, the comments. The comments, guys. Oh my god, this is the best. The comments are the best and sometimes even more funny than the video or the meme itself. People are fucking funny on the internet, guys. And so you have to take advantage of this as well. Like for me with Brazilian online, they're fucking funny with memes. Oh my god. And so every time I check the comments and I'm learning new words, new expressions, and this is at the same time super enjoyable. And so it makes the learning much more fun than just being serious about this all the time. So I would recommend that. Then The second thing that I recommend is reading, for example, graphic novels or manga if you like it. I love manga, Japanese animation, this kind of stuff. I love it so much. Or comics, if you like that as well. And it's even better if you reread some manga. For example, in my case, I love One Piece in the language that you want to learn. So for me, I already was reading One Piece in French and then in English, which I understand perfectly. And I started to read some manga in Portuguese. And the fact that I already know the story makes it much more easier and understandable. So even though I don't know a word, I can understand it through the context because I already read it before. And these guys helps you build the language in your brain, especially as a beginner, like upper beginner. So I recommend that a lot. Then the third thing that you can do when you are at a good level after doing that is reading articles or easy books. So for example, when you're like more upper beginner or intermediate, sometimes it's the stage where you stagnate. In that case, usually it means that you need more consumption of the language. Like me, for example, with Portuguese, I don't listen to it enough, but at the same time, I'm just taking my rhythm, so I don't have a rush. If I was in a rush, I would listen to Portuguese like every day, all the time, even in the background. But right now, I'm just chill. And so, in that case, start reading articles online. You have so many things about the subject that you like, and then easy books if you like reading books. So for example, if you like novels, take novels that are like for younger people because it's easy vocabulary, conversational, this kind of stuff. If you're like an adult and like more subjects about something, learning stuff, then it would be easier to wait intermediate level. Like for example, right now I can read about health, about business, this kind of stuff in Portuguese, but I'm still not fluent enough to understand everything, although I understand the context overall. So it's like a work in progress, and you can do that. I would not recommend for you to read like harder novel with many description and everything because you will hate that. For example, in my case with Spanish, I tried to do that once and I was like, nope, this is not for me. I'm not reading that. I don't understand anything, and this is not what I enjoy. At the end of the day, you need to consume content that you enjoy. So find what is enjoyable for you, and you are on a good path to learn a language. Thank you, and see you next time.